It's very complex and very difficult to organize of an exhibition of this scale and magnitude. Normally it takes about 2 years. In this case we had a great complication because we didn't have a venue. So we had to build from scratch a venue at Gardens by the Bay. One day I went to Gardens by the Bay, there was a field, and Michael Lee said this is where we will build an exhibition space. So it was actually building something from scratch. So in that case it was a huge challenge, but now we have a great exhibition space in Gardens by the Bay, and it will be inaugurated with a Botero exhibition. We had to factor in many complications. For example, having the exhibition space with a very high ceiling so we could fit monumental sculptures, because we're going to have within the exhibition space not only 130 works but also 3 or 4 monumental sculptures. So that created a big technical challenge that we resolved by creating a one-of-a-kind exhibition space that is truly world-class. We're having 10 monumental sculptures in the exhibition, 3 indoors and 7 outdoors. This is the work of a Colombian artist that paints the memory of his childhood of the 1930s and 40s. So it's always surprising for me that so many people in Asia love and appreciate his work. But I understand that that's so because he created his work in a language so sublime, so powerful, and so universal that it creates this reaction on the other side of the globe. The main message is that the purpose of art is to create pleasure. And when one would ask him, what do you want people to derive from your art? He always says, I want them to see art as an oasis from the hardship and difficulties of a life, a moment where people can be happy, can be with a sense of lightheartedness and the pleasure. He painted basically the light side of life, the pleasant aspect of life, the happy side of life, but in certain occasions he was drawn to political issues. For example, when he read about the Abu Ghraib prison in Iran. Another example was when there was so much violence and bloodshed in Colombia, he decided to do a series of art to denounce that time in our history when there was so much massacres and violence. But these are the exception to the rule. I've seen differences not only in the evolution of his style, but also in the evolution of his themes. Because my father painted in themes. He would paint the theme of the bullfight, then the theme of the circus, then the theme of the still life, the theme of the woman, the political themes, and he would work on a theme perhaps for 1 or 2 years, and then he would change his focus. So during my life, I had the pleasure of seeing him work in his style, in the evolution of his style, and also in the evolution of his themes. He was a great father. He was a father that gave us something which I treasure highly, which is interest in culture. He never asked me about my grades. He was not concerned how I did at school, but he was very concerned of how much I did for my own cultural development. So he was all the time asking me, what book are you reading? What movies are you watching? What music are you listening to? What museums have you visited? What exhibitions have you seen? What works of art have impressed you? And that was always a conversation. And when we lived with him, it was on a daily basis. He would ask, what did you do today to increase your culture? And that for me is a great legacy. We don't do it as a business. We don't make exhibitions for profit. We make exhibitions so the largest amount of people can see them around the world, and it's expensive to organize an exhibition, so we try to use ticket sales and merchandise sales to pay for the cost of exhibition. But our satisfaction is having his name and his legacy all around the world. His subject matter is Colombia. 98 or 99% is his childhood memories of Medellin and Antioquia, where he grew up, and the love he has for his country. My father not only is one of the most admired people in the history of Colombia, the most loved, the most appreciated, When he died, he received a state funeral. Millions of people in Colombia expressed the love and gratitude for what he did to the country. He made a contribution to the history of art on account of his influences, his unique style, and the mastery of technique. And I think he will be remembered along with a very few number of artists as one of the great artists of the 20th and 21st century.